Today, we're diving into the captivating narrative of the first murder, the fall of humanity's innocence, and the haunting tale of Cain and Abel. All this and more in today's video, the story of Cain and Abel, life after Eden. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered thus far. We've witnessed the creation of the world, the fall of man in the Garden of Eden, and the entrance of sin and death into our world. And now we're about to explore how these realities shaped the lives of the first humans outside the garden walls. Now, let's dive into the fascinating story of Adam and Eve's sons, Cain and Abel. Their story offers us a glimpse into the consequences of sin, the complexities of human emotions like jealousy and anger, and the lasting impact of choices made in a world grappling with its newfound imperfections. Let's begin. After Adam and Eve left the Garden of Eden, life outside was full of struggle. They tilled the soil, raised their children, and tried to live in a world that was no longer perfect. Yet God was still with them, watching, guiding, and reminding them of his ways. In time, Eve gave birth to their first son. She held the child close and said, "With the help of the Lord, I have brought forth a man." They named him Cain. Later, Eve gave birth again, this time to a second son. "Behold, this one will not be a tiller of the ground for that. His brother Cain is already named that, but he shall be a keeper of sheep." She named him Abel. Cain and Abel grew into young men, each choosing his own path. Cain became a tiller of the soil, working the ground, planting seeds, and harvesting crops. Abel, on the other hand, became a keeper of sheep, guiding his flocks across the fields and caring for them with patience. One day, both brothers decided to bring an offering to the Lord. Cain brought some of the fruits of the ground he had worked so hard to grow. But Abel, he brought something more precious, the best portions of the firstborn of his flock. God looked with favor upon Abel's offering, for it came from a heart of faith and devotion. But he did not regard Cain's offering in the same way. Cain's face fell. Anger burned inside him, and jealousy took root. The Lord spoke to Cain gently. "Why are you angry? Why has your face fallen? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you refuse, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to rule over you, but you must master it." But Cain did not listen. His jealousy grew stronger. One day, Cain spoke to Abel. "Come, let us go out into the field." And while they were there, far from their parents, Cain's anger overwhelmed him. In a moment of rage, he rose up against his brother and struck him down. Abel's blood cried out from the ground. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Where's your brother Abel?" Cain answered coldly, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" But the Lord said, "What have you done?" "The voice of your brother's blood cries to me from the ground. Now you are cursed and banished. The ground you worked will no longer yield its strength to you. You will be a fugitive, a wanderer upon the earth." Cain trembled. "My punishment is more than I can bear. Whoever finds me will try to kill me." But the Lord, in his mercy, replied, "Not so. If anyone harms Cain, he will be avenged sevenfold." Then God placed a mark upon Cain, a sign that no one should kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, settling in the land of Nod, east of Eden. There, Cain built a city and named it after his son, Enoch. His descendants spread across the earth. Among them were men of skill and invention. Jabal, the father of those who lived in tents and raised livestock. Jubal, the father of those who played the harp and flute. Tubal-Cain, who forged tools of bronze and iron. But among Cain's descendants was also Lamech, who took 2 wives and boasted of his violence, declaring, "If Cain is avenged sevenfold, then I will be avenged 77-fold. Yet, even in sorrow, God gave Adam and Eve hope. Eve bore another son, and they named him Seth, saying, "God has granted me another seed in place of Abel, since Cain killed him." And in time, Seth had a son named Enosh. It was in those days that people began to call upon the name of the Lord, worshiping him, seeking him, and remembering that even though Eden was lost, God's presence was still near. And so, the story of humanity continued with pain and sorrow, but also with hope. For from the family of Adam and Eve came not only toil and sin, but also worship, faith, and the promise that one day redemption would come.